2 oranges. So for producing every 1 avocado, US is giving up 2 oranges. That's the opportunity cost. For producing every 1 avocado, US is giving up 2 oranges. Now let's calculate the opportunity costs of Mexico. So what is the opportunity cost of producing 1 orange for Mexico? Well, look at the Mexico numbers. If it's asking for orange, start with the avocados, 4,000 avocados. Divided by 4,000 oranges is equals to 1 avocado. So for Mexico, producing 1 orange costs them 1 avocado. What about how much opportunity cost for producing 1 avocado for Mexico? Well, start with oranges, 4,000 oranges, divided by 4,000 avocado. It is gonna be 1 orange. Notice that the second answer for the nation is always its reciprocal. So in this case, for US, the first one was half avocado and the second one was second orange. It's a reciprocal. I'll let you copy that. Make sure your units are right. Make sure you know how to calculate these. Once you have calculated the opportunity cost of the nations, your step number 2 is to compare who has a lower opportunity cost in producing oranges and who has a lower opportunity cost in producing avocados. So your next question becomes, which country has lower opportunity cost or comparative advantage, so I could write lower opportunity cost or comparative advantage in producing oranges? Which country has lower opportunity cost in producing avocados? To answer this question, you're gonna look at the opportunity costs of oranges for US and the opportunity cost of oranges for Mexico and compare the 2 numbers. So who has a lower opportunity cost or comparative advantage in producing oranges? Well, for US, the opportunity cost of producing orange is half avocado. For Mexico, producing 1 orange is 1 avocado. So who has a lower opportunity cost, US or Mexico? Which number is lower, half or 1? Half is lower, right? So US has a lower opportunity cost in producing oranges. So US has a comparative advantage in producing oranges. US. Which country has a lower opportunity cost in producing avocados? Well, compare opportunity cost of producing avocado for US with opportunity cost of producing avocados for Mexico. So compare with both nations. 1 avocado costs US 2 oranges, and one avocado costs Mexico one orange. So who has a lower opportunity cost? Is it costing less for Mexico to produce avocados or for US to produce avocados? US is giving up 2 oranges, Mexico is giving up 1 orange. So in producing avocados, Mexico has a comparative advantage. So in avocados, Mexico has a lower opportunity cost. By the way, who has an absolute advantage in producing oranges? Absolute advantage means who can produce more oranges. Just plain and simple, more oranges. Well, just look at the figures in the question. US can do 10,000 tons of oranges, Mexico can do 4,000 tons. US can do more. So absolute advantage US has in oranges. What about in producing avocados? 5,000 for US, 4,000 for Mexico. Well, US can do more of that too. So US has an absolute advantage in producing avocados as well. But in comparative advantage, we see that the story is different. We calculate the opportunity cost for the nations, we compare it, and we find out that US has a lower opportunity cost in producing oranges, and Mexico has a comparative advantage in producing avocados. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm repeating myself again and again, but that's because so you understand that this is important and it's going to be in the quiz and exams. And I hope you, if you have any questions, you can obviously ask me at the discussion board on your Blackboard. So I'll let you guys copy this, and then we're not done with this question yet. We're gonna, there's one more thing. Step 3 says that we're gonna do what the David Ricardo's theory said, that nation should specialize in what they have a comparative advantage in. So what should US specialize in? US should specialize, by specializing, specialize means just producing one thing or just focusing on one thing. So US should just focus on producing oranges because they have a comparative advantage in that. And Mexico should just focus on avocados. Let's say that before specialization, US was producing 6,000 tons of oranges, and 2,000 tons of avocados, and 2,000 tons of avocados. And let's say that before specialization, Mexico was producing 3,500 tons of oranges, and 500 tons of avocados. So this was before specialization. You have to keep in mind that David Ricardo is saying that this is the wrong way, that this is not the optimal way. David Ricardo is saying that if you specialize and produce what you have a comparative advantage in, you will end up with more. Do we really end up with more? Let's see. So right now, the total oranges we have before specialization, total production, 9,500 tons of oranges for both Mexico and US, and 2,500 tons of avocado for both Mexico and US. So that's the total production for both nations before specialization. After specialization, US only produces oranges, the maximum amount they can produce. They can produce. So they use all their resources to produce the maximum amount of oranges they can produce because they have a comparative advantage in oranges. So 10,000 tons. And why is US specializing in oranges? Because it has a lower opportunity cost in producing oranges. It has a comparative advantage in it. And Mexico, after specialization, Mexico only produces avocados, their maximum because they have a comparative advantage in it. So their maximum avocados is 4,000 tons. So these maximum values, they were given in the questions, right? That in the beginning that US can produce 10,000 tons of oranges or 5,000 tons of avocado. So that was given to you. So when they specialize, they're going to produce what they have a comparative advantage in, or the lower opportunity cost in, and they're going to produce their maximum amount of that. And Mexico will produce their maximum amount of what they have a comparative advantage in. Now they trade with each other. Now they trade with each other. The trade is that US agrees to give, now this is something that will be given to you, the trade policy. US agrees to give 3,700 tons of oranges for 2,500 tons of avocados. So US agrees to give 3,700 tons of oranges for 2,500 tons of avocados. So we're going to see what each nation is left with. We're going to see what each nation is left with now and compare it to this number. So after the trade, US is left with US is left with 6,300 tons of oranges. Why 6,300? Well, US growed 10,000 tons of oranges, but they gave 3,700 to Mexico, so they're left with 6,300 tons of oranges. And US gained 2,500 tons of avocado. This is what they got from Mexico, so that was the gain. Before the trade, US was producing 6,000 tons of oranges, so now it has 6,300, so that's a gain of 300. Before the trade or specialization, US was only going to have 2,000 tons of oranges. 2,000 tons of oranges. 2,000 tons of avocados before the trade or specialization. After specialization and trade, it has 2,500 tons of avocados, so that's a gain of 500 avocados. What about Mexico? Let's see what's Mexico left with. Mexico is left with 3,700 tons of oranges, the ones they got from US, and they are left with 1,500 tons of avocado. They grow 4,000 tons of avocado, but they gave 2,500 tons of it to US, so they're left with 1,500 tons of avocado. So what's the gain for Mexico before specialization and after specialization? Well, before specialization, Mexico had 3,500 tons of oranges. It has 3,700 now, so that's a gain of 200. And